We're going to be playing out some of those reactions that have come in as well. It's important to note that it's not just the people of the city facing a complete shutdown at this given point. Several lakh tourists having been affected here as well, with vacations planned months in advance. Unfortunately, at this given point of time, several of them remain stranded in the past 2 days, despite assurances that have come from the state government that there would be government buses, vehicles being shuttling across to take them out safely. Several continue to remain stranded, unfortunately. Tapas, in those details that you're sending us, help us understand, is there a sign here that the government is trying to peacefully control this situation? Because GJM at this given point is unrelenting.
Well, absolutely. So it's a constant provocation and in trying to incite violence out here from the part of the GJM and the two senior IGs, Siddhinath Gupta and also Javed Shamim, have come out to take stock of the situation. It's a very, very volatile situation right now. These two senior IGs officers have been, this is Javed Shamim, as you can see, he has been given this special responsibility along with two other senior IGs officers to deal with the Darjeeling problem, and he and other senior police officers have also been here previously in different posts, so they know this place very well. They are strategizing at this point in time how to deal with the situation right now. Back to you.
Tapas, take us through what are the people of Darjeeling here saying? What's the kind of support that the GJM is currently, as it claims to have said earlier as well, that this is for the people, the demand for a separate Gorkha land, standing against the imposition of Bengali language there in Darjeeling, since most there are of Nepalese origin, speaking Nepalese and Hindi. Is there large ground support from people as well in what the GJM has been stating?
Well, apparently it seems so because in hills, the Gorkhas are very, very sentimental and emotional about their culture and their language. And this is something that the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha have always been capitalizing. Not only GJM, whichsoever party, be it the GNLF in the initial stage, now the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, they have always tried to encash this sentiment of the people of hills here in Darjeeling and adjoining areas. This time around also the same thing has happened. And they are trying to garner support. And yes, on ground there are people who are in support of Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, but speaking tactically, it is not going to be a cakewalk for the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, because politically they have been almost isolated, and neither the state nor the central government are endorsing to their demand of a separate statehood. Back to you.
Right. While the GJM continues to, of course, maintain that there is a large people's-based support in their demands there as well. In several days of this bandh and protest that we are now saying, remember, the GJM has now also indicated that this is going to be month-long. There are no signs of this fizzling out, dying down. Could there be talks between the GJM and the West Bengal government, and any sort of assurances here that could be put across? Tapas, with more time passing by, with more days having been spent in these protests there, what really is the Chief Minister's office at this given point of time maintaining? Is Mamata Banerjee still saying that she will not cow down to these threats by the GJM? She will manage to, in fact, rein in the situation?
Well, there's one point, memorandum and a statement that came from the Chief Minister on multiple occasions is that that the state will not deal with any law violation in hills with softness. They will deal with very strong actions. And senior GTA member have also been arrested yesterday. And following that, the GJM supporters have come down on the streets. As you can see, the senior officials are moving on streets. They are trying to sanitize the entire area at this moment. And they want to reassure there are no miscreants or the GJM supporters hiding anywhere with stones or petrol bombs to adversely affect the entire situation here, and also to inflict injuries onto the forces. Back to you.
Tapas, what's the GJM indicating on what's really to be discussed further? Their future strategy, and what they're saying is most clearly going to be a month-long protest now. When they have this all-party meet later at 1 p.m., who would be the other participants here?
Well, as of now, there's no confirmation from the part of the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, but what we learned from the sources when the Hill Congress and the CPI would be there, along with the top leadership of the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha. The other ally, the other region parties from the Hills have declined to join because they all have supported the fact that separate statehood would not change the situation on ground. There has to be a political solution, and that should be that should be reached by including the central, state, and the solution is something that everybody must look onto it. Back to you.
Okay, so as far as officially speaking, there are other political allies, there would be other outfits, so to say, supporting the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, but as far as the other political allies here go, will not be part of this all-party meet, saying that this is not a solution to have a separate Gorkha land to resolve their issues, but with the situation further intensifying as we're confirming 2 more columns of the CRPF on ground there to rein in the protesters. Remember, this of course extremely precautionary there, given the fact that these protests have already turned violent. Yesterday is the worst, is what we've seen, in a PWD office being burned down, in a police vehicle being torched there as well, a couple of detentions and 3 arrests being made. Today we've already seen how stone pelting has continued. This is an outright provocation there to the security forces and the police, stone pelting there while the security forces of course were stopping them at Chowk Bazaar from marching further in that protest march. A presence of heavy media of course there with the security forces to get in those latest inputs there in those developments that are coming in. Our correspondent Tapas, who's of course been saying that there is no sign that this protest by the GJM at any given point of time would fizzle out. Tapas, the kind of timeline that we're already seeing that has been put across by the GJM in saying that not less than a month, this protest, at least if not indefinite, is going to carry on for 1 full month.
Well, absolutely so, because given the fact that yesterday was the first day of the government officers' strike, which did not go in favor as planned by the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha, there was around 94% attendance in the government offices here in Darjeeling. So it was pretty clear that peaceful protests will not fetch much as of now for the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha. They need to come out on street, show their strength, and that's how they can only go ahead. That is only a way that they can boost the morale of their supporters, and that's exactly what they have done. But surprisingly, at this moment, when the protest is intensifying and getting violent, the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha Supremo is not being spotted anywhere. He is almost in a lockdown situation in his own residence in Paslibas, and he has not come out of his residence since last 24 hours, and there are rumors here that there could be a possible crackdown into his place also, but there's no confirmation from the police, and hence he chose to be locked down into his own residence in Paslibas, which is a very, very stronghold of Gorkha Janmukti Morcha. But yes, the Morcha supporters have hit the streets today, and there have been attempts made to incite violence, and hence as a precautionary measure, heavy police deployment has been done.
Absolutely.
A flag march being conducted, and the area has been sanitized by top officials right now. Back to you.
Tapas Gupta, many thanks for getting us those inputs there and those live shots that you're sending us from Chowk Bazaar there in Darjeeling, which at this given point, of course, is the focus of those protests by the GJM. We'll leave it at that. Through the day, of course, we would be getting in further inputs from